Boundaries, the quiet power that protects your peace. Boundaries are not walls. They are doors with handles on your side. They decide what comes in, what stays out, and what is allowed to shape your energy, your time, and your life. Without boundaries, we end up saying yes when our body says no. We end up exhausted, resentful, and disconnected from who we are meant to be. Most people are never taught what boundaries really are. They grow up believing that love means endless giving, that kindness means self-sacrifice, that saying no is rude or selfish or unkind. But a life without boundaries eventually collapses. You cannot pour from an empty cup. You cannot stay open without protection. A lack of boundaries shows up in quiet, painful ways. You may find yourself constantly over-explaining your decisions because you are afraid of disappointing someone. You might stay in conversations that drain you because walking away feels impolite. You may lend money that you cannot afford to lose, give time that you do not have, or accept treatment that leaves you feeling small, simply because conflict feels too uncomfortable. When you live without boundaries, your nervous system never rests. You are always alert, always anticipating someone else's reaction, always adjusting yourself to keep the peace. Over time, this chronic self-betrayal leads to burnout, depression, anxiety, and deep emotional fatigue. You begin to lose your sense of self. Boundaries are not punishments. They are forms of honesty. They are how we teach others what respect looks like. They are how we protect the parts of us that are still healing. When we set boundaries, we are not pushing people away. We are inviting the right people to come closer in safe and healthy ways. There are many kinds of boundaries, and all of them matter. Emotional boundaries protect your inner peace. They define what kind of emotional labor you are willing to do for others and what you expect in return. You might say, I want to listen and support you, but I can't take responsibility for fixing this. Or, I need to step back from this conversation until we can speak respectfully. Physical boundaries protect your body and personal space. They include how close people can stand to you, how they touch you, and even how they speak around you. You have the right to say, please don't touch me without asking, or I need some quiet time right now. Financial boundaries protect your stability. They might sound like, I am not able to lend money, or I can contribute this amount and no more. It means paying your own bills before covering someone else's, and remembering that generosity should never come at the cost of survival. Spiritual boundaries protect your beliefs and values. You are not required to adopt someone else's faith, worldview, or moral code in order to belong. You have the right to say, that belief does not align with mine, and that's okay. Setting boundaries is an act of clarity. It begins with understanding what you actually need to feel safe, respected, and supported. Many people try to set boundaries before they have asked themselves that question. They know what hurts, but not what would feel right. Start by noticing when you feel tightness in your chest, resentment in your stomach, or exhaustion in your voice. Those sensations are often signs that a boundary has been crossed long before you spoke up. When you know what you need, communicate it simply and calmly. Boundaries do not require long explanations. They are statements of truth, not invitations to debate. You can say, I am not available for that, I need to leave this conversation, or that does not work for me. Directness is kindness. It removes confusion and sets clear expectations. But clarity alone is not enough. The true strength of a boundary lies in consistency. People will test your limits, sometimes intentionally, sometimes out of habit. When they do, how you respond teaches them what you will allow. If someone raises their voice after you've said you will not tolerate shouting, leave the room. If someone repeatedly dismisses your feelings, step back from emotional closeness. You do not need to fight or convince them. You only need to act in alignment with what you said. Enforcing a boundary does not mean becoming cold or harsh. It means choosing self-respect over comfort. It is saying, I love you, and I will not let this pattern continue. It is refusing to sacrifice your peace to maintain someone else's comfort. When a boundary is crossed, your response should be calm but firm. You might say, we already talked about this. I need you to respect what I asked. Or, I understand you're upset, but this conversation isn't healthy for me right now. The more you repeat this, the more people learn that your words have meaning. Some will respect you more for it. Others will push back. People who benefited from your lack of boundaries may not appreciate your growth. They might call you difficult, distant, or selfish. Let them. Their discomfort is not evidence that you are wrong. It is evidence that you are changing the rules of a dynamic that used to serve them more than it served you. It takes courage to set a boundary and keep it. It will feel unnatural at first, especially if you were raised to please or avoid conflict. But the discomfort you feel in the beginning is temporary. The peace that follows is lasting. Healthy boundaries create room for deeper relationships. When you are no longer drained by resentment, you have more energy for genuine connection. When you no longer fear saying no, your yes becomes sincere. Boundaries make love cleaner. They turn obligation into choice. Setting boundaries also teaches your children and those around you what self-respect looks like. They learn that love does not mean endless giving. They see that it is possible to care for others while protecting yourself. They learn that strong people can still be gentle. Remember, boundaries are not one-time statements. They are living practices. They change as you grow, and they require regular reflection. You might need to tighten some, loosen others, or redefine them entirely as your circumstances shift. What matters is that you stay in conversation with yourself. If you find it hard to set boundaries, begin small. Start with one area of your life where resentment or exhaustion shows up most often. Practice saying no without apologizing. Practice pausing before agreeing. Practice honoring your limits without explaining them away. These small acts of honesty rebuild trust within yourself, and when you slip because you will, do not shame yourself. Awareness itself is progress. Every time you notice that a boundary was crossed and choose to respond differently, you are reclaiming your peace. Boundaries are not about control. They are about safety. They are about choosing relationships that honor both people's needs. They are about walking through life with open hands and a strong spine. You deserve a life that feels safe inside your body, steady in your mind, and peaceful in your relationships. Boundaries are how you build that life. They are how you teach the world how to treat you. Because when you finally begin to set them, you discover something powerful. The people who truly love you do not want to cross your boundaries. They want to understand them. They want to meet you where you are safe, and those who cannot respect them were never meant to hold that much space in your life. Boundaries are the language of self-respect. They are how love becomes balanced, honest, and enduring. So breathe, decide what peace means to you, and begin protecting it one boundary at a time.